Anyway, basically, I was building a road down from China down into basically what is the American side or whatever. It was like I say, Vietnam City was British. It was a British city or a Dutch city or French city. Anyway, they built it for a while, and then after a while, it was becoming run down. And so I sent new people there, and mostly it was Chinese and that kind of stuff. But there were some Americans living there, basically, and some other stuff going on. And like I said, I had opium farms, I had cocaine farms, and I had Air America. I had some military or military-ish groups in there, but they kept on killing the local residents. And so finally I kind of pulled them out. And so I was having, later on I had Air America going through there and just had the military kind of supporting Air America. So because it seemed like if I didn't give my aircraft could fly in there and fly out of there no problem, but if I sent military people in there, then they would always get in a shooting conflict or something like that, always in there. And so I was just letting the Chinese do it. And like I say, John McCain is the one that killed the leaders of Vietnam and basically did the hit and did most of the death in Vietnam City. And like I said, in Vietnam City, there were some manufacturing plants, and they were making purses and some cars and some other stuff. And basically, it became like this. Basically, 1940s, 1950s, pretty much. Some people that wanted to have new cars and wanted to have nice houses, and they thought of Vietnam City as basically like this. Yeah, man, let's do it like the big man. Let's get a factory. Let's get some guys and get them to work. And anyway, though, and what I hear is that basically it was a cover up for what happened during World War One with the Germans or something like that. John McCain was actually covering up for stuff that happened during World War One. And that was the real cover-up. And World War II, or what happened during World War II, he was covering up for that. And that's why there was the hit in the Vietnam War, because he still wanted... Anyway, though, but there was a major incursion all over the world. Like they say, oh, it only happened here, it happened there. Vietnam was the war that was a world war that no one ever really knew about or heard of. Nixon actually... Well, they were keeping it from the American population, and trying to keep it from me that so many people had died or were dying in Vietnam. They were actually, I think what they were doing is they were hiring people to go to Vietnam, and then they were getting killed over there, basically. Anyway, I don't really know the exact details. Like I said, I found myself in a chair in Vietnam, and basically some people had thought that by kidnapping me and having me in a country that wasn't mine, that my rules wouldn't apply or something like that, or I don't really understand it. Anyway, I'm pretty sure Germany just simply bought all of Vietnam and all of China. Like I say, I was rich enough where like if I was going to die in a country, I think that's what happened. My people just simply bought the country, that I was in. Because like I said, I had bought Germany, and I owned Russia, and I owned Italy, and so it's just like, and I technically owned Mexico and America, so it's just like, well, buy the country, and it's like, okay, we now work for you. It's like, yeah, I pay better. I pay more. Anyway, because I'm Lucifer, the Lucifer Star. Anyway, so if anyone really knew my name there, it's like, well, we work for you now. It's like, yep. Germany could easily, the German people or any of my people could easily just walk over and be like, will you accept $3 million for your country? And this is like in 1940. Anyway, though, but realistically, Vietnam was mostly about a whole bunch of people that were basically trying to get military groups, train people in Vietnam, and then have them actually go do hits for them in other countries. Like they would train people in Vietnam, and then they would fly to, say, Germany, and then they would try and take over a factory or something like that. A lot of that was going on. It was like the no man's land or something like that. And like I say, JFK was actually running a gunboat up and down and actually making runs on this one warehouse. There's this big warehouse, and there's this big manufacturing facility, and there's this big shipping port. And they would pull up ships and try and load on as many crates, and we're trying to bribe my Chinese people. But like I said, my Chinese people, they're a community oriented thing. They were, and so they didn't, money meant nothing to them. So they had a hard time bribing them. And like I said, there was also the Germans there, and they were basically just stealing from me or whatever. And, anyway, though, and they were killing people to do it because they didn't want to leave any witnesses. So anyway, and I think JFK was saying that he was going to be a big president someday or a big shot, or somebody was saying that. And there's, there's also a lot of presidents walking around, or leaders of countries that weren't really leaders of the countries. Anyway, a lot of lookalikes too. So anyway, I found myself tied in a chair somewhere in Vietnam. Basically, I was tied down to a chair and basically drugged and interrogated. All you got to do is look up LS, Lucifer, to know my total wealth, or the leader of Germany. Basically, the total worth of Germany, pretty much, and a couple of the countries, or the total worth of the inventor or owner of the aircraft companies. Like just my Lusitania travel company is worth a lot. Like, look up White Star Lines, Lucifer White Star Lines. That was my wealth and my value, or more than that actually. So, owner of America, namer of America. Anyway, so what I think my Germans did, or my people did, is I think they simply bought the country of Vietnam, or they simply bought they simply bought the continent. They're like, okay, we want to buy the whole continent, the whole thing, everything. Like, if I'm going to die in a country, I'm going to die in my country. If I'm going to die in a country, I'm going to die in my kind of country. So, I think we just paid cash for it. I could do that. Nobody could outbid Lusifer Star. I mean, creator of 800 galaxies, inventor of flight, owner of steam rail. Like I said, I'm Westinghouse. I'm like Westinghouse, GE, basically Lucifer White Star Lines, owner of the Titanic. What is my value? Namer of America. What's my value? A lot. So I think we simply bought the country. Like I say, I think I had a brick factory there. I had some mining stuff. It was relatively low tech. We were building a brand new freeway. It was a brand new freeway and a railway. I was building this railway along the shoreline over there, and we were going down to the shipping port because there wasn't really, I don't think they had a big railway. We were increasing the size. We were going from a small gauge rail to a full size rail, basically the wide rail. This was during my Make It Big thing. Like there was England and Germany. They were all, see, we had a whole bunch of mismatched railways. So we were trying to go for we were picking the 4.5 railway type, or 4.8 or whatever railway size. So they were widening the track and changing the rail over, and they were also doing a lot of stuff. And they're also making this road which becomes a freeway from China to Vietnam, basically. Anyway, so a lot of stuff was going on. So basically, I think I owned it already. So, I was just like, I want to buy the country, the whole thing. So anyway, I think I bought all of that section of territory, or at least Vietnam anyway. I was like, I own it. I mean, if I was going to die in it, and if I was being held hostage and tied to a chair, yeah. Which I was. Anyway, they figured that my laws didn't apply to Vietnam because it technically wasn't a country, and I was like, who says? I think it's a country. Anyway, I'm the creator of the UN and, all that stuff. So anyway. The Lusifer Star. So yeah, I was tied to a chair. They said I was going to die soon, and I said, want to bet? And they learned a little bit about who I truly was. Creator of 12, because some people wanted to know who I really was, and I told them, and oh well. Now we're here. Anyway, I'm pretty sure a whole bunch of people came in. I remember there was a big party. I called in an airstrike, and then later on there's a lot of dead people. And I was being taken out of there, I think.